happens in Thailand stays in Thailand.
Amen.
Amen.
Madam President, so what's the plan?
Congress is authorizing a special zero-day commission.
You will carve this place to pieces.
They can try, but that ain't happening.
Hello and welcome to Arts 24, where we're taking you through a stellar month in the world of TV. And our critic Dheepthika Laurent's here to take us through it all. Hi, Deepthi.
Hi, Olivia.
Including, of course, the return of fan favourite The White Lotus, a new season of that American Western drama 1923, and Robert De Niro's small screen debut in a political thriller. So, of course, let's start with The White Lotus, which is back on HBO.
Yeah, that's right. For a third season, our favorite dysfunctional, rich white tourists are back on holiday. This time it's set in the sumptuous Four Seasons Hotel in Koh Samui in Thailand. It's actually part of a partnership with the hotel chain whose properties in Hawaii and Italy were used for the first and second seasons, respectively. As we're used to now, the series opens on a dead body found in the hotel and then tracks back a week leading up to that moment.
Yeah, and you have to keep guessing through quite a few episodes, if I remember correctly. Well, let's take a look then at The White Lotus Season 3 out this month.
Our hotel is the best in the world. At the end of the week, you will be an entirely different person.
To Thailand. And a week of new memories.
This place is insane. We should always live like this.
I'm so happy. All my babies all together.
I hope you enjoy Thailand.
We usually go to the Caribbean. I feel really lucky to be here.
I want to learn everything I can and bring the magic back to Maui.
So, Olivia, this season has a star-studded cast, as is the case with every season. You have businessman Jason Isaacs, the actor Jason Isaacs, who, of course, played Lucius Malfoy from Harry Potter. There's also Parker Posey, his pill-popping housewife. There's also, of course, a Thai cast. Lalisa Manoban is probably the most high-profile of the Thai actors. She's the rapper Lisa from the South Korean group Blackpink. And big surprise, returning characters, but I can only tell you about Belinda, the staff member from the first season in Hawaii, but you do have some other recurring characters too. So the stories this season centered on this wealthy white Southern family and their 3 children. You have 3 middle-aged women on a girls' trip and 2 sort of oddball couples with plenty of secrets amongst them.
Okay, well, some sort of luxury holidaymakers that we love to hate. So, Deepthi, what are your thoughts so far?
Yeah, so we got 6 episodes were made available for us for previewing. Look, I'll be honest, painfully slow for the first 5 episodes. I really felt like nothing really happened. On the other hand, it's luxuriously shot. It's a gorgeous hotel. You know, the commitment to detail is really incredible. I read that the cast actually stayed in the hotel for the months-long shoot to keep them in character, and it ended up being kind of like it's not all that it's cracked up to be. And, you know, as people, when you put them in a confined space. As for the show itself, I feel some of the characters feel a bit stunted and one-dimensional, particularly Parker Posey's pill-popping housewife found that a bit, you know, one-dimensional. And the trio of backstabbing girlfriends, I found that maybe a bit of an easy stereotype. The series, though, does evoke a lot of interesting themes like the commercialization of wellness resorts, also the seediness of older rich men, younger women, relationships, toxic masculinity, sexual deviance. But I felt that it had less satirical bite than the previous seasons. And I will say one thing, I can't quite put my finger on it. It just didn't have the magic of the past seasons.
Okay, so a bit of a slower one then. But, you know, as you say, reviews have been a bit mixed for The White Lotus, but people love it. So it has been renewed for a fourth season, I read. Well, next up, the much-awaited season of 1923. This is the period drama set in the American Far West, starring Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren.
Yeah, that's right. 1923 is the origin story to Yellowstone and a sequel to 1883. All of these series, these sagas, are from the Taylor Sheridan universe. Taylor Sheridan's the creator there. So this season will take us, this series takes us into the tormented history of rural America. It follows the Dutton family's battle to protect their cattle ranch during the Prohibition and Depression era years in America. They face, in particular, an unprecedented drought and cattle rustling. So this series blending, drama, action, and, of course, breathtaking landscapes.
What's his name? Spencer. He's a war hero. The Stone Killer.
In this season, we're under tremendous threat at home.
It's a particularly awful winter that they're going through.
Just the elements, being able to keep up and feed themselves and keep everything moving.
It's just the reality of this world and trying to survive.
Living in Montana in 1923, they are living on a physical edge constantly.
There's a storm a-coming, and we know it. There's nature and mankind. And if nature won't get you,
mankind will.
Mankind will.
Of all the things I've had to do for this ranch, takes a cake.
My family is in danger. My wife is lost to me, and I don't have time.
Well, Olivia, earlier this month I spoke to the French-Scottish actor Sébastien Rocher. So in the show in 1923, he plays the absolutely vile Father Renaud. He runs this boarding school for Native Americans, and he runs it with an iron fist. He was the focus of a particularly gruesome scene in the first season. So he talks to us about what's ahead for his character in season 2. Take a look.
Season 2 really is a season of journeys. And what's really interesting, you saw the introduction of Renaud in season 1 as the dastardly sociopath that he is, but then he goes into this quest to find Tiona Rainwater, who killed, 3 of his priests and his nuns. And there is this quest for vengeance, but at the same time, what's really interesting in the season is you see Father Renaud change in a spectacular fashion, because he's accompanied by this marshal who, in a way, is even more vicious than he is. And he starts realizing basically the horror of his own actions, and you see him start to change.
So these big studios are notoriously secretive about their productions, but what can you tell us about this second series of season of 1923? I
can't tell you much, actually. They are indeed very secretive. Screeners weren't made available for us before the taping of the show. What we can say is, okay, so following from how season 1 ended, season 2 really picks up. The Dutton family's cattle ranch is in peril of falling into the hands of a mining tycoon, Donald Whitfield. There's turmoil for the Spencer Dutton, who's making his way back to Montana, and that story that Sébastien Rocher's character Father Renaud was involved in, that involves Tiona, who's a young girl from the boarding school. She escapes, and so he and some other men head to the Comanche reservation, where she's most likely heading to seek safety, and so you can expect sort of a showdown there. And Sheridan has said that this season is very much like a part 2 of season 1, so you can expect a very similar kind of tone and scenery as well for this new season.
A linear progression of the characters and the action.
Much of the same, yeah.
Okay, moving on to a very big news in the world of TV now. Legendary actor Robert De Niro headlines a new US political thriller called 0 Day on Netflix. It's his first time.
Yeah, he's done a bit of TV, but this is really like the first time he's in a leading role. He plays former US President George Mullen, and this character is dragged out of retirement after a deadly cyber attack on America's infrastructure. It causes mayhem and kills thousands of people. He's tasked with leading a commission that's given unprecedented freedoms to find out who's behind the attack and why.
Okay, well, let's take a look at 0 Day.
3,402 people died on 0 Day.
This commission that's formed has more power than anybody has ever had in the history of the country.
You're just going to grab people off the streets without warrants.
Actually, you are.
All of the things that we have in place to check people's power are all paused, and so he can do, and the commission can do, whatever they want.
It can be dangerous, stepping over the line, going too far.
This show raises the question of what would unfettered government really look like? What would all-powerful government do?
So Zero Day has a star-studded cast, including, of course, Robert De Niro, but also Angela Bassett, who plays the current U.S. president. She's black and female. Sad that it could only happen on TV, Olivia. Lizzie Kaplan is also there from the iconic series Masters of Sex. And if you're old enough to remember it, she was also in Freaks and Geeks in the 1990s.
Of course she was.
So she plays Robert De Niro's character's daughter. It's a political thriller that has a myriad of subplots, maybe too many because you do get lost in the intrigue sometimes. But certainly what's interesting, it reflects a very existential threat to the America, an anonymous cyber threat. And also what they were saying there, what happens when government has unlimited access. It's very, very topical indeed right now.
Okay, looks interesting. Well, finally from you, a new season of a cult French show that I remember actually, Bref. That's out on Disney+. It comes 14 years after the first season. And if I remember well, not much happens in this show.
No, not at all. But that's probably, it's very French in that way. But it's called Bref 2, as you see there. So it's a follow-up season to a hit show from 2011 created by Kayan Kojandi, who also stars, and Bruno Muccio. Now, the first season was very unique because it comprised of 82 episodes lasting 2 minutes. Bref in French actually means very short, so they were really sticking to that. And it detailed the daily life of a 30-something-year-old. Bref 2, or the second season, outlines the daily life of a 40-something. This time, though, it's in 30-minute episodes, so it's very much more, what streaming, what you'll see on streaming platforms nowadays. Now, it has been wildly successful among fans since it's released earlier this month, and pretty well received by critics too.
Oh, so a new sitcom for the French public then. Thank you very much for the recommendations, Deepthi. We'll leave you with a look at Bref 2 out on Disney Plus this month. Otherwise, do join us here next time on Arts 24 for more from the small and big screen. There's more news coming up just after this.
Autour de moi, tout le monde a évolué. Enfin, presque tout le monde. Les autres, ils se sont mariés, ils ont fait des enfants, ils ont fait des vrais choix et ont changé de vie.
Merci à toi, Bertrand.
Moi, je fais les mêmes erreurs en boucle. Là, je le sais pas encore, mais je vais rencontrer des gens qui vont m'aider.
Ça arrive à tout le monde d'être en galère. Hein.
T'es parfait, toi.
Des gens qui vont me soutenir, des gens bizarres. Et
toi, t'es...
des gens qui finissent pas leurs phrases.
Est-ce qu'à l'origine, tu connais la pièce du fond ou le... Ah ouais, non, mais de toute façon... Non, toi, t'es arrivé en... Oublie ce que je t'ai dit.